Again, thank you for joining us to learn about how to write a competitive proposal for EPICS and IEEE. Today, you will learn from Dr. Pedro Whiteman, the chair of our EPICS and IEEE committee, as well as experienced EPICS and IEEE committee members who have seen many proposals come through and can give you some hints on what makes a successful project. Joining us today, and they'll be able to introduce themselves as well during their part of the presentation, is Rashali Thakur, Nikhil Mahika, Megha Arkari, and Kai Goodall. And they will pronounce their names better than me, should I have made the mistake. First, let me introduce, to kick off our session, Dr. Pedro Whiteman.
Good morning, everyone. I am Pedro Whiteman, as Debbie mentioned. Thank you for the introduction. I'm the chair of the EPICS and IEEE program. I am a professor at the Universidad de Rosario in Colombia. That's my day job. And I am very glad to come here to share with you some insights about the EPICS and IEEE programs and the EPICS and IEEE project proposal writing. I'm going to focus on the engineering design. However, I'm going to give an overview of the program. Next, Debbie. So, EPICS and IEEE, it's a program from the Education Activities Board of IEEE, one of the main boards, that is focused on supporting projects from college students that works hand in hand with nonprofits or non-governmental organizations in order to solve a problem of our community. So we pretty much are looking forward that the engineering students try to develop and try to put into works all the knowledge and skill they have acquired in the classroom toward the benefit of a community of humanity through engineering design. EPICS and IEEE was established in 2009 based on the EPICS model of Purdue University, which is more a curricular solution for this. Of course, I forgot what EPICS means: engineering projects in community service. That's our acronym. We have 4 main pillars. We have education, in which we support projects that try to promote STEM education, mainly at K-12 ages. Access and abilities, in which the projects are designed to improve the quality of life of people with any kind of accessibility problems or disabilities. Environment, projects that work towards having a better either monitoring or improving or having a direct intervention on environmental problems like, air quality, water quality, and so on. And human services, which is fairly open, that are projects that work directly towards quality of life of people, either access to energy or access to water or aspects like this, housing, security, lighting, and so on. Next. During the year that we have been working on, we have, as you can see, we have here a summary of up to 2024. We have supported more than 255 projects in all pillars. We have given out almost a little more than $1.3 million in funding, impacting more than 12,000 students, 1,600 volunteers, and having an estimated impacted population of more than 1 million people worldwide. So this is a great program that really has a great impact worldwide. As we can see, we have had programs or projects pretty much all over the world. Our next call, and probably that's probably what you're here, is going to be October 1st. So please be attentive to learn how to write these projects, and hopefully we will be receiving in a month and a half. Next. So we recognize that these types of projects that require the group to come together, design and identify the problem and go solve it, not only teaches you technical stuff, probably things that even you haven't seen on your classroom, because in order to solve these complex problems that we're hoping you will do, you need to go beyond what you have learned. But on top of that, one of the great benefits that you will get is also to start getting those in-demand professional skills, that effective communication, collaboration, leadership, project management, time management, teamwork, that not only looks very good on the CV when you have experience in these topics, but also will help you as a human, as a person, in order to be a much better professional. And you will see the difference when you go to work after you have had some experiences like this. Next, please. So in terms of engineering design, the first thing that I really would like to transmit you, and I would like you to keep it here, is we're looking for problems that are non-trivial solutions, but the problems that have no trivial solutions. So we don't want you just to solve a problem by buying 2 or 3 things, put them together, and voila. No, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for problems that are complex, that require you to think, to experiment, to fail, and to go back again and try again and do them. Problems that are complex. That's exactly what we're looking for. When you write your project, the project must reflect that engineering design component when you write it down. And students should be the ones that must be directly involved into the design. Yes, you can have a faculty. Yes, you can have a professional volunteer. You can have people helping. Yes, but the students are the ones that are called to make a design. And of course, in that process, you need to include also the stakeholders. You need to include the community. They are the ones that have the problem. You do not. So you are there to understand, to hear, to appropriate the idea, to appropriate the problem, make it yours, and then go to try to make a solution and validate it with them. They are the ones that are going to be receiving the solution, so they need to be part of all that process. So again, just assembling is not enough. Just assembling the solution, again, buying the parts and integrating is not enough. You need to design. You need to design how it's going to look, how it's going to integrate, how it's going to dissipate heat, how is it going to be weatherproof. All those aspects are very important on the design, and they must be somewhat reflected in there. And of course, the students should be directly involved in there. Of course, if it includes risky aspects, I don't know, like soldering or things like that, you need to take that into the safety consideration. Contracting other like some aspects of the thing, like civil work. You need to build a room, or you need to build a wall, or you need to build a container. That's something that should not be the greatest portion of the project, but we understand that it is important to get an electrician, to help support install some high voltage things that could be hazardous. Yes, you absolutely need to have those. So we need you to define clearly how the engineering design process will be, step by step, as clear as possible, so we understand that you understand what the engineering process means and how the students are going to be involved. Next. So you need to keep it simple, and that's one of the key elements here. It's like you have resources. They're going to have resources, but you're probably not going to have enough resources to do what you probably had in mind. That's one thing. So, and the more complicated the solution is, the more complicated it's going to be maintained, for example. And remember, this solution is for the community. This is not a solution for you or for the university. This solution needs to be sent to the community, so the community will operate it and make and sustain it during the after the project. You can participate, yes, but you cannot depend directly on that. So you need to think of aspects like here, for example, like you cannot depend on very specific solutions. It's like AI can solve any problem. I'll put AI into anything. Not necessarily. How trusted it is. How are you going to train it? Where is it going to run? Is it going to run in the cloud? Who's going to pay for that? For example, how's it going to be sustainable? Are you depending on very specific hardware and software? Yes, you can always get Raspberry Pi and Arduino, but what if you need some very special sensor or a very specific device that will do part of the task? What happens if those devices become unavailable or they're too expensive to change or they cannot be repaired? Is the solution easy to operate, for example? Are you able to, are you able, is it, it has a fairly easy way for the community to understand what's happening and make decisions about it. So adding technology is for the it must be done for the strategic purpose, not only to make it just shiny and pretty and cool, because that also would make it more complex. So think about all these elements and good luck. Good luck with your proposal.
Thank you, Pedro. I'd like to introduce Rochelle Decker, who will talk to everyone about community partnerships.
Yeah, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, thanks, Pedro, for giving a gist of the project design of EPICS and IEEE. And now I will take over to the most important aspect of identifying the local community needs, which is one of the aspect in EPICS and IEEE project. So the most successful projects are those that involve the community from the very beginning. So the goal is not to serve the community, is not just to serve the community, but to engage them as collaborators and co-creators. So this creates a deeper impact and ensures long-term relevance. So to do this effectively, you need to consider a few key steps. So the few key points are, first, think about the end users, who are they and what organizations currently support them. Try to find out a community partner whose mission already aligns with your project goal or who is tackling similar issues from a non-technical angle. The another one is you should not hesitate to ask the organizations directly about their technological needs. Often they will know. Often they all know the most pressing problems that your team can address. And finally, look for the partners that are geographically close to your deployment site. So this strengthens the collaboration and responsiveness. So by following this approach, you are not just identifying a problem, but also anchoring your project in real community-centered insight. Next slide. Here are the few examples of the community partner where we can say that the EPICS have partnered, have given the funding for these successful projects which are collaborated with EPICS and IEEE student teams. So first we have Trinity Elder Care, which is an elder care facility. Here the projects focused on improving the quality of life for seniors through assistive technology or safety systems. The next example is about the Red Crescent General Hospital, where teams contribute to the healthcare innovations and the logical support. The third one is the Dr. MGR Home and Higher Education School for the speech and hearing impaired. This is an example of an educational partner where students have developed the communication tools and the learning aids. And lastly, we have one more example, which is Smile That Listens. It is an audiology center, which is highlighting how the EPICS has contributed to the field of hearing the health. So the key point is community partners should be connected directly to the end users of your solution. So this ensures that the people who benefit are involved in shaping the process. On next slide. Now, how do you start a service learning project? So now let's walk through the step-by-step process of how do you start a service learning project within the EPICS. So first is you identify a problem. Start by finding an organization, meet with them, understand their mission, and identify the challenges they face. Then think about how those problems might be addressed with engineering to the technical solutions. The second is develop a relationship. It's important to talk with multiple stakeholders within the organization, so from managers to maintenance staff, to get a full picture of the problem. This will also help you to find a main point of contact who will mentor and guide your team. And finally, scope of the project. Once a problem is identified, clearly define the project goals, timeline, and design requirements. You need to ask questions like what are the milestones? What does success look like? What does the organization need in order to implement the solution? And always make sure that your team has the skill set to meet those expectations. So if you're following these three steps, you ensure your project is built on trust, relevance, and technical feasibility. The next slide. About the community partner letter and engagement. So once you have established a relationship with a community partner, the next step is to formalize that engagement through a collaboration letter. The sample of the collaboration letter is shown over here. So this letter is a critical part of EPICS in IEEE process. It should clearly support it should clearly support the identified problem and the proposed solution. It shows the partner's commitment to pilot, deploy, or use the solution. You need to mention any financial or in-kind support such as space, time, or resources the organization can contribute. And finally, it should be provided an official letterhead with a signature and a website link for verification. So the partner is not just a recipient, they are an active participant in the project. So this letter, which is shown as a sample, shows that they are invested and involved in the success of your work. So these are the guidelines for the community partner, identifying the local community needs. If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box. We'll be happy to answer after the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Roshali. I'd like to introduce Nikhil Makija, who will speak to you about impact and sustainability.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Rishali. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Nikhil Makija, and I am one of the EPICS in IEEE committee member. As my day job, I am an industry professional with 18 years of experience focused on smart and digital manufacturing. So with that, I wanted to take you to the two core aspects of this project proposal we do for EPICS in IEEE. And this is like project impact and sustainability, right? I mean, these are two of the core areas where I have seen like most of the time it does not deserve its due recognition, right? And a lot of people or a lot of students who propose like they kind of miss out or don't provide good details on these sections, right? And it's very important for you to have this kind of been aware of those two aspects of this project proposal. Next slide. All right, so what is project impact, right? I mean, in a very simple terms, it's our ability to measure, right, the project you are proposing or doing, what's the impact it has on the participant, you, as well as on the community, right? We wanted to know as a student or as a participant, what's the technical learning you did or what's the skill development you had, right, while doing this or proposing this project. So we wanted to know that. And you have to be aware, like, I mean, without impact, right? I mean, it's very difficult to understand like how the project is doing and what we are exactly trying to do in the project, right? So, so it's on a high level, just in a simple words, like, I mean, it's our ability to measure like how the project is doing, and but why we track the impact, right? Think about in this way, right? We wanted to know the real people are using real solutions with real impacts, right? We don't want any theoretical or statistical projections. We want like something real project people are using, right? So that we know exactly what's the impact. And three things you need to make sure you are aware of it. How many people are positively impacted, right? Why we track impact? So that we know exactly how our project is doing. Second thing, internally also for EPICS in IEEE, we want to take accountability, like how our organization is doing overall, right? So we need to track of that. And very important, right? The donors who are donating or who are putting time and investment in for EPICS in IEEE, right? They need to know like how the projects are going on, right? What's the impact they are making, so that they will also feel confident, right, while investing in those projects. Next slide. All right. So very important things. We reviews project. Uh, I think Deborah, go one slide back, please.
Keel, where you'd like to be?
No, just one slide backward.
One back?
Yeah, previous slide.
Good.
Right.
Forgive
Thank you.
me.
All right. All right. So assessing the impact, right? I mean, okay, it's happening too fast. So sorry for that. Deborah, can you move one more slide, please? Forward. Perfect. Yeah, that's it. Again, it went too far.
There must be a lag between what I can see and everybody else can see. I apologize, and we will send the slides and the recording out afterwards. But is this where you'd like to be, Nikhil?
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, sorry about
Okay.
that, everybody. So we are gonna send out the slides, right, so that you can reference it later on. But yeah, so what I was talking about, like the impact, right? So I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware, like, I mean, when we evaluate as a team or as a committee members, right? I mean, we evaluate on the overall quality of the proposal, right? And we just do not look at the numbers you are proposing, right? How many numbers, or if the number is big, like that does not mean like it is a kind of a project proposal, right, which will be definitely approved, right, or it will have a good chance of approval, right? We look at the overall quality of your project proposal. So please make sure you put the right or the realistic numbers and don't have any inflated number or random guess numbers, right? So just to leave you with a couple of things, like, I mean, how do you access or how you assess the impact, right? As a student, right, you have to put basically what is a meaningful number of students engaged in this project, right? How many of the students participants were female, right? And what was your learning? What did you learn both from technical as well as your professional skill development point of view, right? So those are the points you need to consider while you are putting a proposal, right? And then from the community point of view, right, you need to put the number, how many community members were got impacted, right? How many you supported through your project, right? So all those things, right? Realistic number. I understand and we understand, right? I mean, you do not have the exact number, which is fine. But please make sure, like, whenever you put some kind of a number, it is realistic and not inflated or any random guess. Okay. Next slide, Deborah. All right, perfect. So what are the tips to measure your impact, right? I mean, this is very, very important, right? I mean, just need to keep in mind without metrics, right? If you do not have any metrics, you are managing by guesswork, right? And but with metrics, you are managing with insight. So you need to make sure you have some kind of a baseline data, because without that, it's very difficult, right, to measure the impact. You don't know what exactly you did, right, or how impactful that project was. So please make sure you have your survey. If you do not, please conduct any baseline survey so that you understand where are you right now and after the project where you will be, right? There are multiple avenues you can look for that. Like one is the survey data. One is like when you involve with your community partner or the NGOs, they may have certain data already collected from previous conversations. The third thing is like uh, be involved in any kind of direct interviews with the stakeholder also, right? And get any kind of a feedback, what you are trying to solve, what you are doing, like what is the number you are will get impacted, right? So all this will help you to measure your project short term as well as the long term when you will put together a proposal. So these are just a few things, right? It's very important point. Just make sure you have your baseline numbers before you get started and put together the short and long term impact. Um, so this was all about the impact, right? So hope you got a little bit of an idea, right? I mean, why it is important and why it is required for your project proposal. Um, Next slide, Deb. All right, so project sustainability, right? So a lot of the points you are gonna put in the project proposal, they are overlapping, right? So I'll just gonna touch base like what Pedro was saying initially, right? You are not making any toy project, right? You are not making any school project anymore. The project you are making is a real project which will be used in the in the community, right? Which will be used to help the community, right? So please make sure it is sustainable and it is not like use it and throw it. So need to put together a good idea or the design idea, like how you are gonna make it sustainable. Because if the project is sustainable, it will have great benefits to the community. It will be greatly accepted by the community, right? So make sure what you are doing is not just use and throw. What you are putting together will be extended for a period of time. Okay, and this will have like a few examples given here is like it will help the community to accept the system what you are building. It will save them the cost and the time, right, and improve the relationship and as well as other environmental factors you might be using that project for. Next slide. Yeah. All right. So what are the four most critical points you need to consider for sustainability? So adaptability, right? Just need to make sure like your project is adaptable. I understand that you cannot cover all the scenarios possibility, right? But try to make sure like, I mean, the project is adapting to the new changes and it's not very rigid, right? I mean, it has some um, uh, conditions or the rules, right, to handle the situations a little more gracefully than fail altogether, right? For anything which you have not tested before, right? So please make sure it is adaptable. It is easy to implement, right? I mean, we always get lost, like where we do a complexity or we go into a lot more complex details, right? Please make sure this is easy to implement because if it is easy, it will be more easily accepted, right? Scalability, right? Very, very important point, like whenever it starts right from the engineering design. So whenever you design your proposal or project, right, please make sure it is scalable. So right now you might be doing it for 50 people, right? But think about the impact it may have, right? You could be giving it to people who might be, I mean, using it for 500, 1,000, right? So rather than like having completely destroy this project, right? You can say, yeah, it is scalable, right? We can scale from 50 to 5,000, right? Or something like that. So make sure like your project is scalable. It's not like very rigid, like not just for only 10 people, right? Then it will lose its value. And then the last one is the maintainability. Make sure it is maintainable. It's simple to maintain either with your little help or the community or with the NGO you are working with, right? They can easily maintain it and that's not a bottleneck or overhead for them to maintain it, right? So please make sure when you are putting it in the field, right, or in the real world scenario, one of these four points need to be there, right? And or you can basically uh, look at them again and again and just to make sure your proposal follows all this so that you have a good proposal for sustainability. I hope you got some of the idea, but like please make sure you have some again good idea and some I'll say good numbers on the project, right? I mean, I'll leave you with that tip. Just don't inflate any number. Put the accurate numbers or the short and the long-term goals on your project proposal. Um, Thank you for listening. And with that, I'll pass over to Megha for the next step. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. And everyone, this is Megha, who will speak to you about innovation, an important part of the EPICS and IEEE proposals.
Thank you, Deborah. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Megha Arkiri. I'm a senior member of IEEE and committee member of EPICS in IEEE. And I'm currently working as professor in Manipal Institute of Technology, Bangalore, India. So my committee members have covered various aspects of writing a competitive project proposal, starting from engineering design, how to get connected to community partners, and how to measure the success of the project or how it impacts the community. So I'll be talking on the very important factor of the effective project proposal, that is innovation. Next slide, please. So when I say innovation, it's not just about novelty or something new, but it should be valuable innovation, a product that is new as well as useful. So when we review the project proposal, the committee members or the funders look at how unique is your proposal and what impact it does on the society or the community, and whether it is aligning with the future trends. So the idea you propose should be new, which no one has thought about it, and how can you implement that solution in a better way, in a faster way, and make it more cheaper. So we look at all those factors when it comes to innovation, as well as what impact it has got on the society. Because we look at the learning outcomes of the student. Why innovation is important is a project proposal is because we want to have the students certain learning outcomes. So you need to understand that EPICS in IEEE goal is connecting engineering education to the society. So when we fund the project, we want the students to apply their concepts, whatever they've learned in their classroom, in developing the solution. And in the process, they should be able to enhance their technical skills as well as soft skills like project management or the budget planning or teamwork, and having the interactions with the community or the society, community partners. So we want to enhance all those skills in the process. So if you just end up developing the existing solution, then of course there will be no improvement in your skill set. So when you bring in that innovative idea, you think towards more cutting edge technologies on how to implement the solution, and in the process you will have a lot of learning outcomes. So when you write your project proposal, demonstrate how unique is your solution, how is that prototype developed, how it is made innovative and unique compared to the existing solution. Next slide. So when a project proposal is written, to understand whether it is innovative, whether the idea I have proposed is innovative, to answer for that, just have a look at these queries. Just check whether the idea we have proposed is similar to the existing one. So for that, you have to do a lot of literature review, look at what commercially the products are available, what features they have got, or are you going to implement the same features, or whether it is different. So having a thorough literature review and justifying your idea is very novel. That is very important, and understanding those research gaps. And how can I fill that research gaps by developing that novel solution, that you have to look in the proposal whether you have covered all those points in your proposal. So, and also there may be an idea or there may be a product already commercially available. So you have to look at whether you are improving that solution which is already available, and what if you are improving, what is that percentage of improvement, whether it is 70% contribution in the solution, or 50% you are contributing, or 20%. So your contribution in the project proposal should be greater than what you are taking the existing solution. And when I say innovation, so you may be modifying, as I said, you may be modifying the existing technology. For example, if there is a robot and if it is controlled manually, so in order to improve that process of the robot to make it more effective, so you may be making it totally automated without manual intervention so that it is more effective. So that can be the modification of the existing technology or the product that is available. Next slide. So when you are developing, in order to bring in that innovation, you have to be careful about the way you write the project proposal, because in the process of making it more innovative, you should not overload your proposal with a lot of technical details, but you have to explain how unique it is in and how it can impact the society, what is the benefit of this innovation that you bring in. So your cutting edge technologies may help you achieve your functional requirement, what you have proposed, or the objectives, what you have proposed, but they may not have the best outcome. The product may be working, but that may not have the best outcome, or it may not be useful to the society. For example, if you have developed a product and you are designing the interface, you may think that if I put in a lot of features in it, a lot of other stuff in the interface, then it is a very good interface and it is like an innovation. So that is not an innovation. So you have to look at, even with few set of features, whether it can address the need of those community or the set of people you are trying to address. So that is very important aspect in writing the project proposal. So what I mean to say is, don't overload your project proposal with a lot of technical details, but you need to justify why it is important, why are you developing it, what was the limitation, but don't under explain the benefit. That is what I mean. Next slide. And also, when you are making your idea innovative, feasibility is also one of the important factors. Don't make the project too complex. So plan in such a way that you have a lot of time for designing as well as a lot of time for testing. So innovation, it need not have to be like entire product need not be innovative. As I said, you can modify the existing solution. So even if you can address the limitation of, if you can address the need of small set of users in the community, or if any rural region is facing of that specific region, if there are some problems, if you try to solve that problems itself in that particular community, that itself will be the contributions in the project. So you have to remember that main goal of IEEE is having those technical innovations for the advancement of humanity. So try to get connected to the society, what needs they have, what are the problems they're facing. If you can just solve those, even if that problem is very small, but if you can solve with the innovative solution, that itself becomes the contribution in the project. Next slide.
Thank you, Megha, for that explanation about innovation. We appreciate it. And I'll introduce Kai, who will talk about the budget, and then we'll have some time for some questions.
Hi, I'm Kai Goodall. I'm a EPICS and IEEE committee member. It's my third year being a member. And I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, and I recently completed my master's in electrical engineering. And I'm a co-founder of a deep tech startup making IoT solutions for South Africa and the rest of Africa. I'll now be talking to you about, thanks Megha for going through the innovation, and I'll be talking about budgeting and preparing your proposals, as well as I'll tell you a bit about my master's project that also had a community engagement aspect. Next slide, please. So for my master's project, I built HeliosRover, which was the educational self-driving car platform. And the project goal was to inspire pre-university students in underprivileged communities in Cape Town, South Africa, to pursue STEM at university level through hands-on engineering education. And the project itself had a modular solar-powered self-driving EV platform. That's what it was, electric vehicle platform. And it demonstrated solar tracking, hybrid charging, and autonomous driving, as well as it engaged students with power electronics, renewable energy, and machine learning. And it was used as an educational tool to encourage high school learners to study engineering. Next slide, please. So as I said, the purpose of the vehicle was to engage high school learners with the vehicle in order to encourage them to do engineering. So the following outreach events, we took it on a few outreach events, and the outreach activities were the following. So learners were involved in the construction of the electric vehicle. They came to my university, the University of Cape Town, to engage with the vehicle in a hands-on manner. And then we had allowed all the learners to remote control the car at an event at a local high school called Portland High School in 2023. And we also built circuits. So we broke down different components of the vehicle and built circuits, as well as allowed them to interact with the subsystems, as well as gave lectures on the importance of renewable energy and the different fields of engineering. Next slide, please. I also want to chat a bit about now. So as mentioned earlier, it's important to get your community partner. That's very important. And that's one of the requirements of an EPICS and IEEE proposal. However, you can also get external partnerships. So for this project of mine, I just want to give you some tips and tricks on how I did it. In order to get the equipment that was needed for the HeliosRover, I partnered up with the International Federation of Automatic Control. I looked for a proposal that they were actually asking for projects, and that's international, in the UK. As well as I partnered up with RS Components South Africa, and they sponsored the outreach events by providing robotics toolkits and student prizes and transportation, as well as a local South African supermarket called Pick and Pay. And they supplied the food for the outreach events. So I just want to go through the strategy of how I found these external partnerships. So you need to make sure your goals are aligned with theirs. So ensure each partnership's objectives complement the HeliosRover. So in your case, it should complement your project in terms of its educational goals, as well as just fostering mutual benefit, as well as the value demonstration. So showcase tangible benefits for the stakeholders, such as increased visibility or community engagement. Next slide, please. I'll now go through how to create your project team. So in order to create your EPICS and IEEE project team, you can partner up with you can get information or partner up with your IEEE student branch at your university, engage with your local IEEE section, as well as it's very important your team is multidisciplinary. So have students from different disciplines, so different types of engineering. It can be business majors, it could be just have a different team. As well as you can also partner with high schools, as well as IEEE technical societies. Next slide, please. So now, in order to prepare your proposal, please have a look at the proposal website and do the training courses, please. I'll talk a bit more about that in the next slide. As well as you can also on the EPICS and IEEE website look at past projects that will help give you some ideas and inspiration. And make sure you also have a faculty advisor involved, as well as have an EPICS and IEEE representative review your project proposal prior to you submit it to us. Next slide, please. Oh, and our latest call for proposals is October 1st, 2025, so please apply. Next slide, please. So we have recently launched an EPICS and IEEE training course. So yeah, please, we'll be sharing the slides afterwards and you'll have the links, but you can head over to the EPICS and IEEE website and go to the resources tab. Next slide, please. So I just want to go through how to prepare your budget. So EPICS and IEEE awards budgets grants between $1,000 to $10,000 for your projects, and the project proposal will ask for itemized budget. So just make sure you line out all the materials in order to create your prototype and complete the project. And it has a limited amount of funding, so the committee will ensure the budget is reasonable. So just the following is important. Make sure you list all the project materials individually and their incurred costs and show the budget in US dollars. and show the specific website links to the materials, as well as an estimate for the number of people that will consume foods and snacks during your different events that you host, and then calculate a cost. So for example, 20 people at $2 a day if necessary, and please try to keep these costs reasonable, as well as estimate the number and types of printed materials that need to be purchased. For example, brochures, t-shirts for promotional, for the events in order to promote them, as well as your project and EPICS, and indicate the type of travel and estimate the number of people if you're traveling and the travel type. Only when travel is required. Next slide, please. So I just want to go through a few things that can't be included in the budget. So these are personnel costs such as salary, stipends, and honorariums. So we do not allocate budget towards that. In addition, we do not fund excessive travel, like local excessive travel or international travel, as well as equipment for personal use, as well as research equipment. So what I mean by that is these are things that your university should already have, such as multimeters, soldering irons, and things like that, as well as capital expenses. This includes laptops, computers. For your computer labs, you do not normally sponsor that due to the fact that your university should already have this, as well as overheads, including university overheads, as well as we do not cover prizes or incentives for participation, as well as we do not cover miscellaneous items or any budgets that request that items that are not itemized. So normally we reject budgets when they're not itemized, and we'll ask you to re-itemize it, as well as services such as internet or phone plans. We do not cover that. Unless it's really required and you justify it, as well as we do not cover conference travel, publication costs, or patents or IP protection. Next slide, please. So please engage with us. We will be sharing these, so you'll be able to click on all these links, but scan the QR code to join our mailing list. And as I said previously, on the website, you can look at the resources, including our new budget training, as well as news and articles of other successful EPICS and IEEE projects, as well as the past projects. And if you friends or either you or friends or family or anyone at university can donate to EPICS and IEEE, that'll be amazing and help us continue doing the great work of helping communities, as well as follow us on social media for different information, as well as when we have new proposals open. So follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Next slide, please.
And I'll help Pedro with the questions, I think, if that works for you, Pedro. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. I have my email in the chat. If there was a question that wasn't answered, feel free to send it and I'll connect you with the right person. And all of our slides and the recording will be sent after probably early next week. So EPICS and IEEE committee, I'll summarize a couple of the questions that came about community partners. So do you have a suggestion about how a team can collaborate, and can that collaboration be with an industry or anyone else, such as a public agency for water or an environmental agency in their area?
All right. So the community partner should be either a nonprofit or a non-governmental organization. So that would include like foundations, any type of association of, I don't know, like farmers or fishermen, or a school for people with disabilities, a rural school. Those are the type of organizations that we're mostly looking for. About governmental organizations or units, yes, you can also partner with them. In this case, in many of the cases, they will need to send the letter of support, in which they don't only say, yes, we like this project, we're interested, we're going to support it while it's being done, but the role of the partner is also to appropriate the solution and keep it working in a sustainable manner for years to come after the project is done. So make sure that in that letter of support, it is clear that the NGO or the NPO actually supports this. Now, industries or companies are not eligible for this. They can be a support partner, but they cannot be the main partner. Why? Because again, we're looking for solutions that would be applied directly into the community. So, and the partner should be the one that appropriates the solution and keeps it working with the community. So, student branches, for example, student branches should not be a um, a, a partner. They cannot be cataloged as a partner because we're looking to have this applied to the community. So yeah, I don't know if any of the other panelists should have a comment on that.
It doesn't look like it, Pedro, so I'll ask the next question. Is there an expected number of people for impact in order for a project to be successful?
In
Talked about impact.
Nikhil, go ahead.
Yeah, no, can you say that one more time, Deborah, please?
Yes, the question was, is there an expected number of people that the project should impact?
No, I mean, there is no such hard number, right? As I said in during my conversation, just please make sure it has to be realistic and it is based on some kind of estimation or some kind of analysis you did. And so there is no wrong number, like as long as it's realistic and you know it's a real number, that will be fine. It can impact 20 people, it could impact 200 people, and both are fine.
Great. There's a question about scalability. Does scalability mean that the project must be designed so that it can be extended to meet future needs?
I think I lost you again, Deborah.
Okay, I
got-
think this is your question, Nikhil. The question is about scalability.
Yeah.
Does that mean the project must be designed to meet future needs?
Right. So scalability, right? I mean, just please keep that in mind, right? I mean, I've seen a lot of projects where though they are good impact projects, but they are not scalable, right? Or they are not usable to a good way, right? So when we try to do engineering design, we need to make sure like it's scalable, right? I mean, because sometime like, I mean, and you have to keep in mind, right? I mean, when it is going into the real setting, real world setting, right? It is scalable in terms of like, I mean, how many people can use it or extend it, right? Because if it is an impactful project, like a lot of people wanted to use it for more and more, right? And your project should not be in a situation where you think like whatever you build so far, it's of no use anymore, right? So just to keep your project useful, right? Make sure it handles that aspect of scalability, right? So it can handle with number of users, or it can scale with number of users if you increase. So just keep that in mind, because more often than not, right, you will be in a situation where you need to use your project for more people, right, rather than the other way around. So keep that in mind, and scalability is important there.
I think there's time for just one more question. We have two. One is, can non-IEEE members be part of the team? And I think we know that answer is yes, but there has to be at least one IEEE member on the student team. But panelists, maybe you can explain what is the difference between EPICS and IEEE and Tech for Good projects, which is another funding source through the Humanitarian Activities Board, which of course some of our members are interested in as well.
All right. So the main difference between EPICS and Tech for Good has to do with the focus. Like we focus on students and engineering design. So we're not looking for projects that, for example, have to do directly with infrastructure, basic infrastructure, like solar panels or water sanitation or a solar power water pump. We're not looking for those kind of solutions because they're pretty much you just buy the things, just plug them in. Of course, there's some level of design, where to put them, how to get the electricity from here to there. But the solution is fairly trivial. You can find tutorials about that. We want, and those are the main focus of Tech for Good. They want to apply technology for the good of the people, but things like innovation or the role of engineering design is not part of their focus. The focus is to bring those solutions to the people. We want students to actually develop these kinds of new solutions, innovative solutions that may end up at the prototype or MVP level. But they're indeed trying to work out all the complex criteria, complex variables, the context, and the community in order to be able to create this solution, a new solution. That's actually what we're looking for. And that's the main difference between Tech for Good. It's not that one is better than the other. There are different, very good programs that also I encourage you to read about and see if perhaps your idea could fit. So think of how your idea would fit better if on EPICS, on more innovative, education-oriented program, or in Tech for Good, a more applied, bring the technology to the people.
All right, I think it's 10:57, Pedro. So if you want to have any closing words, there are a couple more questions in the chat, but if you could send those directly to the EPICS email or to myself, the EPICS email is on the screen. We can make sure that somebody answers those. Pedro, your sound is a little breaking up a little bit. So if anybody has any questions about what Pedro said, feel free to send us a message. But if you want to just have some closing remarks, Pedro, we'll do our best to hear you.
All right, I'll try to speak slowly then. Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for your time, for your interest in this program. This is a great program with a possibility of impacting life of people around the world. So if you think you have a good idea, if you have a good relationship with your community, with any part of the community, with any groups, any associations, any NPOs or so, ask them. There are problems everywhere. It doesn't matter where you live. It could be a super developed country, or it could be an a growing developing country. It doesn't matter. Your community needs you and needs the technology that you can create in order to solve today's and future problems. So consider us a great option for that. We have lots of resources to help you write great proposals, and you still have time to apply for our next call, which is going to be focused on access and abilities, but it's not exclusive. We can still receive proposals on all our 4 pillars. So thank you. Thank you to our panelists, Roshali, Mega, Kai, Nikhil, and thank you, David, for hosting this. If you have any more questions, please contact us, send us an email. We'll be more than glad to help you create those great proposals.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for making time to reach out to all of the students and teams that want to apply. I look forward to October 1st.
Everybody, and all the best for the next
Thank
round.
you, everyone. All the best.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.